Welcome back to another episode of Bridge and the Gap. Today, we will be covering Narcissistic Personality Disorder awareness and how you can spot narcissism. So, before we get into it, we do want to announce we have hit our 50 subscriber goal. Woo! Thank you so much to our supporters for supporting us, liking, sharing. And we want to give a special shout out to Joanna F. from the Philippines. And if I have mispronounced your name, I so apologize. But we do want to give a shout out to you because you played a huge part in getting us over that 50 subscriber mark. So we thank you so very much. We also want to announce that Joanna F. also happened to win our 50th subscriber giveaway. So we will be sending you a Bridge in the Gap t-shirt. So please be on the lookout for that. Thank you again.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yes, we do. And so that means on this Thursday, we will be holding our first live episode. So make sure you tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so you can join us live and join us with the fun. If you have any questions, please do come through with them. We can't wait to answer them live. So
I'm so excited. I was so excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, so please stay tuned to the end of this episode so you can find out what we will be talking about on Thursday. But no more announcements as of yet. So I do want to jump right on in and get started on our topic today. Now, Mama, can you give us a definition of what MPD is?
Absolutely. So for those of you who do not know, narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition which is exaggerated by feelings of self-importance, a lack of empathy, and a need for admiration. And that is basically in a nutshell what narcissistic personality disorder is. Many people have narcissistic tendencies, but that in itself does not make a person a narcissist. As a matter of fact, narcissism, NPD, can only be diagnosed by a clinician, such as a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And it comes from the DMIVS, which is the Diagnostic Medical Mental Health Disorder book that they use. So that is how it is diagnosed.
And then I did want to share that there are several different types of narcissism. And so I wanted to go down the list really quickly to just give you more information about the different types. So there is a such thing called communal narcissism, where they claim to care deeply about fairness. They usually present themselves as supportive and selfless. However, their behavior is motivated by a desire for social status or power, and usually have a sense of superiority or entitlement. There's another type of narcissism called covert or vulnerable. And most narcissists are typically extroverted. However, with covert narcissism, they tend to be introverted. And they tend to also be extremely sensitive to criticism and suffer from low self-esteem. They can be defensive and passive aggressive. And then there's antagonistic narcissism. They typically take a highly competitive approach to social interactions. They also believe that in every situation, there has to be a loser and a winner. And then we have overt narcissism, which they tend to be extroverted, but also uncooperative and selfish and overbearing. Then we have adaptive narcissism, and that leans more into positive traits where they come off as self-sufficient and confident which actually can be healthy, but it's the motivation behind it, which is what makes them a narcissism. I'm sorry, a narcissist. And then maladaptive narcissism, on the other hand, is characterized by toxic traits such as a sense of entitlement and a willingness to exploit others.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and
list of them.
Okay, and then that's perfect because then that ties into the 9 major signs that you are dealing with a narcissist. So a narcissist believes they're special or unique. Mm-hmm. They require an excessive amount of admiration. They have a excessive sense of entitlement. They have an exaggerated sense of self-importance. They tend to lack empathy. They are often envious of others and believe others are envious of them. Mm-hmm. Behaves in an arrogant or haughty manner. They're typically preoccupied with fantasies of success and the absolute perfect mate. And they tend to take advantage of others, especially when it comes to others' kindness. They prey upon that.
And with you saying that, I did look into some famous people that are thought to have NPD. And so a few that popped up were possibly, and this is all allegedly, there's concrete proof. Kim Kardashian, Donald Trump, Kanye West, Jennifer Lopez, Mariah Carey, and Oprah Winfrey were all a few names that popped up.
Wow. Now the others I can see, but I did not see Oprah being on that list. You know what? Actually, I can see her on it. The one that you
Jennifer Lopez.
Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey is surprising to me.
Yeah, Mariah Carey was surprising for me too, but then I was like, I think it may be like the diva persona that's out there where like sometimes she gets carried around and stuff like that. So I feel like maybe that's why they put lips. Yeah.
And then because ultimately Mama has spent quite a bit of time looking into NPD. She has a vast amount of knowledge on it
and personal experience.
Yeah, right. It's like due to personal experiences on it. Before we let her take us into a deep dive on her experiences with it, I did want to share a couple of statistics and facts about narcissistic personality disorder, because I know people are like, man, you know, those individuals sound like they could be something to deal with. You know, how often or what are your chances of running into people like that in the real world? With that being said, the gender disparity. So research indicates that narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, is more prevalent in men compared to women, which I have something on that later on in the show. And then studies estimate that between 1% and 6% of the population exhibits NPD. People with NPD often experience co-occurring mental health issues like depression, anxiety, or substance abuse. While the exact causes of NPD are not fully understood, factors like childhood experiences, genetics, and environmental influences are believed to play a role. A mental health professional can diagnose NPD based on a comprehensive evaluation of an individual's symptoms and behavior patterns using Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or DSM criteria. Yes. Okay, so with that being said, there is an acronym that will help you remember exactly what NPD is. And the acronym is Special Me. So S stands for a sense of self-importance. P is preoccupation with power, beauty, or success. E is entitlement. C is can only be around people who they perceive who is as important as they are. I is interpersonal, explorative for their own gain. A is for arrogant. L is lacks empathy. M is must be admired. And E is envious of others and believe that others are envious of them. So, with that being said, I have ran into at least 3 people who had MPD that I'm pretty sure they had this disorder. And to be in a relationship with a narcissist is probably one of the most harrowing and terrifying things that you can go through. It's almost akin to being, I would say, like being an insect caught up in a spider's web. Mm-hmm. You really do not know the type of danger that you are in until you are in the midst of it. You have no idea. And it's actually a form of abuse, narcissistic abuse. They abuse you mentally, physically, verbally. You can be also abused sexually and financially. There's also narcissists who have been known to abuse people financially. It's not unheard of. So, in the stages of narcissistic abuse, the first stage is ideation. And this is where you are love bombed, you meet a person, and they instantly fall head over heels in love with you. They will, within a day or two of meeting them, they're telling you how much they like you. You are the best thing since ice cream, and just all sorts of over the top things. They'll offer to take you on trips, buy you things, spend an elaborate amount of money on you, and it's really overwhelming, and it will catch you off guard. A lot of people, that's the first red flag that something is wrong. Mm-hmm. And they will go on, and if you call them on it, like, you will offend them because they will swear up and down that this is really how that they're feeling. And so that stage will go on for a while. And then the next stage is devaluation. In this stage with the narcissist, they start to criticize you and devalue you. Typically, they will love bomb you, and all of a sudden, one day, it'll be like the flick of a switch where they no longer see you as the person that they once did. So that's when the devaluation starts. And they literally will criticize everything you do, the way you talk, the way you look, the way you dress, the way you cook, anything that you can think of, they will find fault with it. And that is when they start, like I said, to devalue you. And then the final stage is the discard stage, which typically is the worst stage, because if you are in a relationship with this person for any length of time, of course, a normal person over the course of time will develop feelings for the other person. And in a discard stage, you don't even see it coming. So one day, literally, you can wake up and they will act like they don't even know you, like they've never seen you before. They don't even know your name. And it's so weird. Like, it's really weird. And I'm going through this. I know it sounds quick, but typically this stage will last over the course of months and perhaps even years. People have been in narcissistic relationships for years. Mm-hmm. And after the discard stage, if you allow it, they will start this cycle all over again. Mm-hmm. So it's a cycle of they're falling in love with you. They will make up stories as to what happened, and something happened and they don't know, but they're sorry. They'll apologize, and then they'll come back and they'll start it all over again. The whole cycle. So it's a weird experience to go through. Like I said before, you typically do not know that you are in a narcissistic relationship probably until actually it's over. Mm-hmm. That is when most people realize, oh my God, I was with a narcissist. Mm-hmm. As I said before, people have been in these type of relationships for years. There's in the community, there is a idea that the person, a narcissist, can never really love you because they themselves do not know what love is. They have no conception of what love is. And what they do is project. Most of the time when you meet a narcissist, as they get to know you, if you notice, they will project what they see in you onto themselves. So if you're a happy person, they'll pretend to be a happy person. If you like R&B music, they'll like R&B music. If your favorite food is pizza, that'll be their favorite food. They literally mimic everything you do. So it is said that you are not falling for the narcissist. You are really falling in traits that you have yourself. That is what you are falling in love with, but it's just reflected back to you through the narcissist. So with that being said, most of the time you will meet these people. There are a lot of narcissists online. You will find a tremendous amount of narcissists doing online dating because, again, they cannot sustain a relationship for more than a couple of months at a time. And so it's a weird, again, it's a very weird thing to go through because it's not normal. And if you don't know what a narcissist is, it's very easy to get trapped with one. There are people who have gone online who have actually recorded conversations between their narcissistic partner or husband and themselves, and you can hear the person yelling and screaming at them at the top of their lungs, berating them and all of that. And when they get around other people, they act normal. And so most of the time, the narcissist family knows that there's something wrong with them. They may not necessarily know that the person is a narcissist, mm-hmm. but they do know that there is something wrong with that person. And sometimes they'll try to warn you, if they have that capacity to tell you like, hey, you might want to back up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it's a very strange phenomenon. It can be men or women. Mm-hmm. There have been a lot of men who have been in relationships with narcissistic women. Like I said, it's a very abusive relationship because you never know when the person is going to like snap on you. It's weird. Mm-hmm. I can go on and tell different stories about it.
Something that you said that makes sense, though. It would make sense that you find an overwhelming amount of these types of people on online dating, because I think about the endless supply of potential partners, and online dating, makes people a whole lot more accessible. And then I think about how people can be anybody online. They know all the right things to say, especially depending on how long they have been online dating. And then the other thing that stands out to me too is I feel like because I've had some experiences with narcissists, And honestly, for me personally, this is my personal opinion, but I feel like narcissistic abuse to me is worse than physical because of the mental toll
and emotional
that yes
damage.
narcissistic people can take on you, and in addition to not only just your self-esteem, but just we've talked about how your mental health affects everything else. I can only imagine having to deal with something like that for years, what kind of physical toll it would eventually take on you.
It's funny that you refer to it. You mentioned supply, because that's exactly what it is. And they are constantly looking for supply. It's not unheard of for narcissists to be in multiple relationships at one time, because they'll meet you and you're going through the stages of your relationship. Meanwhile, in the background, they'll have somebody else, maybe 2 or 3 other people, and they'll have multiple relationships going, which again is how you tend to wind up in the cycle. Like I said, the discard phase, and then they'll start it back over again. There's a thing called trauma bonding. And so trauma bonding happens in the initial phase with the love bombing. This is, like I said, when they're telling you how crazy they are about you and all of that. So the second stage is they're building up trust and confidence. They're trying to make you trust them and, give you confidence to trust them. And then the third stage that's when the criticism and the devaluation starts. The fourth stage is the manipulation. In a relationship with a narcissist, it is all about manipulation. They will pretend to be something that they're not. Again, like I said before, whatever you like, they like the same thing. Then they'll gaslight you. If you call them on something that they did, they will swear up and down that they didn't do it. It's not them, it's you. They never ever find fault with themselves. Nothing they ever do is their fault. They're never accountable for anything. It's always on you. The emotional addiction starts in the trauma bonding stage. So as like I said, as you are essentially going through the stages of a normal relationship from your point of view. However, that is not what the narcissist perceives. To them, it is just a game. And from my experience, the narcissists that I have met tend to have, with men, they tend to have very narcissistic mothers. And the mothers, in essence, will abuse them at a very young age. And this is where the narcissistic syndrome starts. Like, they will berate them and they'll talk to them. They'll really talk bad to them. They'll talk down on them. They'll curse them out and all of this, really as children. And really like break their self-esteem. And this is when they feel like a lot of experts feel like this is when the narcissistic pattern starts. So there has been studies done, and right now there's no conclusive evidence that narcissistic personality disorder runs in families. However, as I said before, typically with men, the mothers are narcissists themselves, and that's how it starts. It's sad if you think about it in a way, because a lot of times these people they have no idea that they are narcissists. And if you try to tell them that this is what they are, they will not believe you. It's almost like they don't see it. And it's a very sad way, in my opinion, to live. But this is what it is. And as Jaleesa was saying before, there's a never ending supply of women and men online. So a lot of times you will find them online, in the online dating community.
And I think what you just said is important for somebody who may be out there dealing with a narcissist, is since they're unlikely to see it, they usually don't seek help. So it's better for the person who is dealing with them to go get help.
Yeah.
And then I think about with that whole trauma behind that, I think of a line that I've heard before, you know, when you do get to the point where you are over, if you become over the relationship before them, you know what, go ahead, just leave me like everybody else in my life has. And you know, the stuff like that. And they will
they'll make threats and stuff.
Yes. You know, I just had a former partner come to mind with this. But that's the biggest thing, you know. So that's it. You're just gonna leave me, you know. And I told, or they tell you, they dump all of this emotional baggage on you at the very beginning. You know, my mother did not take care of me and my siblings.
That's how they suck you in.
And so you feel, oh, like, you know, like, oh, and then with that whole building confidence thing, if somebody is telling you their deepest, darkest secrets, I feel like any normal human being would be like, oh wow, like this person trusts me, so let me let my guard down and trust them. It really is. It's so, I don't want to say it's an evil game, but I just feel like that's just, it's just this horrible.
It's horrible. And you know what? Some people even, I wouldn't go this far, but there are people who even liken narcissists to being demons, because it's really bad how they prey upon your empathy. They look for people that are very empathic. Like you said, they'll tell you all these horrible stories about their childhood and how they grew up. And, you know, some of them will tell you about the abuse. And it's all to draw you in and to get you into the relationship. And then once you are there, like I said, no one knows what makes them instantly look at you one day and decide this is the day that they don't see you. They will literally put you on a pedestal. And then one day they'll knock you off. And then that's when the devaluation stage starts. And like I said, nobody knows why. I don't even think that they know.
But I think it's their way of like exerting control over a person.
Yeah, they are definitely
put you on a pedestal and then take you off the next day. Naturally, you're going to try to win them back over. But I think it feeds into their ego.
Yes. Yeah. It's a very it's a very vicious cycle, and they are very egotistical people. And even in the names that you named off, in the celebrity world, everybody can sit back and see, now that we've said exactly what it is, I think we can all see these traits in each one of those people. It's just amazing. The number of traits that they have that are very similar. Another thing with narcissists is, if, as Jaleesa said, if you leave them first, there's a thing called triangulation. And triangulation is when they will literally have somebody else in their corner, and what they do is triangulate the relationship. They'll have the person to be a go-between, like, why did you do them like this? And, you know, they really love you and blah, blah, blah. And they also have, there's a phase phrase called flying monkeys. And this is when they have people, they will try to find somebody in your inner circle to watch you and spy on you and come back and tell them. So it's a very vicious cycle.
It's crazy.
It sounds crazy, but it's real.
But we've lived that.
Yeah.
Because when Mama's former relationship ended with, her narcissistic ex, Cedric and Karan were his goat. Like, messages were being sent through them to Mama, and they eventually somewhat kind of worked their way back in because they used Cedric and Karan, which is like, it's
the
like
whole
and
the whole flying monkey thing, because they would make a point to ask them what was going on in my life,
like, or be like, so your mama going out on a date tonight, this Friday night? So, and of course, naturally, no, okay, well, what's she doing? She just at home, and like, okay, like, we got eyes on her at all times, which is, again,
I think we can laugh about it, but I do think it also is pretty serious.
It's
because sometimes
serious.
When the love bombing and that doesn't work, sometimes they can resort to threats or violence.
Yes. Thank God mine was not violent, but narcissists can be very violent.
And then we see with the whole threat thing, and again, of course, like you said, we don't know for sure, but I do think with, when Kanye West was going through that crash out, and we literally, the world was watching, the threats that were being made against his ex. And it was so bad. I remember D.L. Hughley actually put out a statement like, hey, like, this is not okay. It's not funny. It's actually scary. And so I definitely see how it's a serious mental disorder. I think that's another reason why I am so weary of online dating, because I do know that is a
playground.
For narcissists. And then I do know that it's easy to, well, if you don't know. So if you don't know what narcissist, if you've never dealt with one and you don't know what to look for, you don't know what it looks like, I can see how you can easily be sucked into it, because at one point in time I didn't know what narcissistic personality disorder was, especially when I was, in the midst of it. So I've not been in long-term relationships with narcissists, but I have had a former step-parent that was one. And I think of the mental toll that it took on me growing up, during the time he was present in my life. I think about how they make everything about them. So I think about how on all our family vacations, his attitude was always sour, never happy. It was all about him and ruining family trips. Or I think about, like, we would have family gatherings, Thanksgivings, birthdays, things like that. He would be off in the corner, pouting on his phone, not engaged when anybody, and everybody is wondering, like, okay, like, what's wrong with him? Like, is he okay? Like, it's always, about him.
They always have to be the center of attention. And in fact, they purposely go out of their way to ruin special occasions. Anytime the spotlight is not on them, it's a problem. And they will do anything to get the spotlight on them, even if it's in a negative manner. They will do it.
And I think about how they try to isolate you.
Yes, isolation is huge. They will isolate you from your family and your friends. They don't want you know, they want you all to themselves. They want you to be there at their beck and call. And it's really about control and manipulation. It's a very controlling relationship. And they move relationships really quick. If you meet somebody and they're trying to go to the next level, like ASAP and love bombing, that's a red flag potentially that you are potentially in the grips of a narcissist.
It's funny that you all have said all of this, and then Jaleesa brought up Kanye, because as you're saying this, like, that's all I can picture is Kanye West. And a perfect example is with the whole Grammy situation, how he wasn't even invited, but he pulled the stunt that he did with his wife, and that just plays into the exploit others without guilt or shame. It's like he exploited her, and he didn't have any shame or guilt about it. So
And think about this. The Grammy should have been a night of winners and celebrating them, but yet the next day the headline
all about
what he did with his wife, you know, essentially what his wife did. And that's how they operate. And now he's even on social media making very inflammatory comments, again, putting the spotlight on him. Is crazy.
Yeah.
But he's also, speaking of him, he has also been known to have bipolar disorder. So it plays again into they can have other mental health comorbidities.
Yeah, so no, that's all I could think of as y'all were saying. I was like, yeah, that's
you can definitely see it.
Like,
You can definitely see it. And somebody else who is front and center, I refuse to call his name, but you can actually see he lacks empathy. He's controlling,
demeaning.
Very demeaning. He has to be in the spotlight every day. Everything is all about him.
He constant praise and
admiration. You can definitely see he has all the traits of NPD, and it's scary.
Very.
They can easily, another thing about those type of people are they can easily be manipulated. As again, we see that playing out with the people around him are manipulating him to do certain things, and it's showing.
It's something else. His love bombing didn't work the first go around. So when he lost, then the threats started, the violence started.
The threats and the violence started. But this is what I was going to say in reference to that. With the people around him, that's another thing too. They fall out with people quickly. So we do have that hope that that whole relationship will be coming to an end, because the other person probably has NPD too.
Well,
So with other mental health disorders. So but yes, it is a very real thing. And if you know or suspect that you are in a relationship with a narcissist, I would say back away slowly, get out the relationship, go no contact. And when I say no contact, no cell phone calls, no text messages, no visits, nothing, because they will try and try and try and try. They will do anything in their power to get in touch with you. I remember in my situation, because I had had my phone number for so long, I was determined that I was not getting another number. And so I blocked the person through my cell phone. I blocked them through all of my social media accounts, and they still found a way to use somebody else's phone to call me from an unknown number. And they also sent me messages through social media using somebody else's account. So they will definitely try, but the key is no contact, nothing. Another tactic you can use if you are in an active relationship with a narcissist is called gray rocking. And what gray rocking is when they start in on you, you know, being abusive and trying to devalue you. Do not engage with them. Don't argue with them. If they say it's red, let it be red. You literally have to ignore them. And that is a tactic if you want to be in a relationship. But I would advise from personal experience, again, if you know that you are dealing with a narcissist, to let it go, because they will never change. The older they get, the worse it gets. And we can also see that playing out before us with the couple of people that we named. They only get worse as they get older. There's no cure for it. No amount of therapy will change it. Again, they won't even admit to it because they don't think that they are. So there's no therapy that can change it, no medication that they can take. It's sad, but it's almost like, you hate to give up on people, but I mean, it's almost like they're a lost cause, really.
And then so with that being said, how long or what steps did you take to recover from the I guess emotional trauma that
it took a long time to recover, and some parts of me I don't think will ever recover, because I never, like me personally, I never want to forget how I felt during that time. So that would stop me from getting into another relationship. Like, I would immediately spot, if I were to meet another one, I would immediately spot that. So, but it takes time. Time heals all, but it takes time. It takes some people go to therapy for it, depending on if you are in a very, very long-term relationship, like for years and years. I thank God was only in a relationship with the one for a short amount of time, not long enough to do damage. Like, the hurt was there, but damage wise, I feel like I'm okay. But it's something that you never want to forget. It's something that you never get over. So I would just say, take your time going forward. Take your time in a relationship. If you happen to meet somebody who is really, really trying to rush through things, you guys been talking a month and they telling you they want to get married or something like that, that's a red flag. You definitely want to take your time and get to know the person's family as well too, because the family can give you a lot of information that you wouldn't otherwise know. In my situation, some of his family members had expressed to me, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? They, in their own way, they tried to drop subtle hints about the person, which I very much appreciated. Like I say, I don't know to this day if they knew exactly what he was, but they definitely knew something was wrong based on his prior history with other women.
And then I do want to add, if somebody is trying to leave a narcissistic relationship, is don't expect them to feel what you feel, like as far as loss and grief go. Like, they're just gonna move on.
Yeah, they gonna move on, and not only move on, they will purposely try to bring the new supply around you, in front of you, to make you jealous. Like, I had that situation too. Like, they would, oh my God, go out on dates and take pictures and
have other people
post them, and had somebody in their family accidentally send me the pictures, and just like the craziness that ensued behind and it went on after we broke up. It went on for at least a year and a half afterwards. Like, it just nonstop. So
yeah. And then in addition to piggyback off what you just said, Jasmine, some ways that people can start to heal that emotional trauma that they undergo with having dealt with a narcissist or been in a relationship with one is, first, you want to pay attention to your stress level. And you want to make sure that you are getting enough sleep. So self-care is the most important thing. You want to seek therapy, because that is going to be the catalyst for everything else to fall in line. They say getting physical activity in is good for emotional healing from that. And then you always want to use the coping skills that you get in therapy in your day-to-day life to work through what you've dealt with in that narcissistic relationship, or in that relationship with that narcissistic person. And then one of the very most important things that you can do in that healing process is reconnect with the people and the friends and family that they isolated you from, because that is a great way to be reminded of how happy and fulfilled those people made you before they isolated you and things like that. So all of those coping mechanisms, or those steps in healing from those relationships, are ways that you can, like I said, work on getting back healthy, especially mentally, after something like that.
That's one other thing I would add onto your list is also work on developing your emotional intelligence.
Yes, absolutely.
Also help you.
Yes, absolutely. And building up your confidence and your self-esteem, because that's another thing they do too. They are literally they are energy vampires. They literally prey upon you. They can see things in you that you really don't see in yourself, and that is the thing that they exploit the most. So that's really how they are able to get to you. So you definitely want to do that and work on yourself, and work on saying no. You, like, a lot of us are scared to tell people no, but no, having the word no in your vocabulary is a very good thing. And another thing too, one of the biggest things I found is having boundaries. That's another thing about a narcissist too. They will literally push back your boundaries to see how far they can go. And so again, if you're a person who does not know how to say no, you will be the perfect victim for a narcissist. So I would say learn how to say no, and learn how to set firm boundaries. When you say no, or you're not going to do that, that's that. No, arguing back and forth about it, staying firm. So,
you know what? I do feel like after a relationship like that, and after healing from it, I feel like your level of discernment, it would be through the roof. At least mine, would be in that aspect. I feel like I would be on high alert.
It absolutely is. And again, I think once, like you said, once you are in that type of relationship and you get out of it, you can immediately spot a narcissist a mile away, because I don't care if it's a man or a woman, black, white, purple, or green, the steps are all the same. They all do the same things all over again. And with that, did we have anything else?
I just want to say I thank you ladies for doing this topic today, because I learned a lot about narcissism, and I feel like I'm now more aware of being able to spot some of the signs in another person now, and I hope that our audience will now as well, especially if they haven't dealt with it personally. I hope some of those celebrity names out there will kind of help them understand it a little bit more and better, just in case they do encounter it. But no, I thank you ladies for bringing this topic up.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
you're
hope,
welcome.
and look, I hope some of the names that you dropped, I actually hope some people go back and look at some clips, or like you said, think about some things and say, hey, you know what? We see it.
Yeah, look at that person in a different light, for sure. And if you out there, if you have been in a narcissistic relationship, please, if you feel comfortable enough, share with us how you got out of it, and what did you do to heal from it. So we really like to know. And with that being said,
before we go into that quote, we again, because we hit our 50 subscribers, actually 53 to be exact. Yay! Thank you guys once again. As Yasmin said, we will be doing our live show this Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We are so beyond excited about that, reaching that milestone, and we could not have done it without everybody that is here, that's tuned in and subscribed, followed, shared, all of those good things. And our next show will be our 15 greatest songs of all time. So that's going to be a good one. I might have to sing a little bit for you guys. Bless you guys with my pipes. But it's definitely I'm looking forward to this live show for sure.
Super excited.
Yes. And so then, if no one else has anything, I'm gonna let Miss Bridg go ahead and take us out with the quote of the day.
Okay, so the quote of the day comes from Tina Smithin, and it goes, "You might well bang your head into a brick wall if you expect the narcissist to be reasonable, empathetic, or human in any way. If you sense or witness any of these traits, there is an ulterior motive. When the narcissist is being nice, it's because they have something to gain." And again, that came from Tina Smithworth.
I like it.
What she's talking about.
Right, and she hit the nail right on the head.
Right on the head.
So, well, we thank everybody for joining us, and have a wonderful night. Bye.